You do not need to know every single horrifying detail of the Epstein files. And I know it feels like you do, because I feel it too. My brain wants as much information as possible, even when consuming that information feels awful and completely dysregulating. And there's a biological reason for that. Human brains evolved to seek out information because for most of human history, new information allowed us to take immediate, survival-relevant action. Learning something new often meant learning how to avoid danger, how to protect other people, or how to change our behavior in a meaningful way. And under those conditions, seeking information was adaptive and helped us survive. But we have to understand we are now living in an entirely different information environment. Every day, we're exposed to enormous amounts of information, including extreme harm, corruption, and suffering, while having little ability to intervene or affect most of it. And when information can't be acted on, it stops functioning as a survival tool and instead becomes a source of psychological distress. And this dynamic becomes especially intense when the information involves extreme harm and psychologically distressful content, like what's in the Epstein files. And research shows us that media-driven distress after one tragedy predicts increased media consumption after the next, which in turn fuels more distress, which traps people in a constant state of overwhelm. So, it's important to understand this. It is not your job to know everything. And there is an important difference between knowing everything and knowing enough. Knowing enough means understanding the scope of the harm, the patterns of abuse, the failures of accountability, and the implications for power and protection. While knowing everything involves absorbing increased levels of detail that do not change your capacity to respond, but do intensify your distress. And it's important to understand that our brains don't naturally draw the boundary between knowing everything and knowing enough, which is why intentional information consumption takes effort. Just as we have to be mindful of the type and quantity of food we consume in a world of food abundance, we also have to be mindful of the type and quantity of information we consume in a world of information abundance. In our modern information environment, the goal is not to know everything. The goal is to know enough.